going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. I'm doing a quick, not quick. You know me, I don't do quick videos. I got some things to say, and it takes time to say stuff. So if you're looking for that 10-minute YouTube sweet spot where you're supposed to say everything there is to say about something in 10 minutes because people's short attention spans can't go past that 10-minute mark, then you came to the wrong place. You came to the wrong place. Just dropping that off right off the bat. It's July 23rd, but who cares? There's some people on this channel that got mad at me when I stopped uploading videos the same day I record them. And I'm like, the news media shows up at a school the day after a school shooting, and they're like, we're live from the place where a bunch of kids got shot yesterday in front of the school right here. It's like, well, why the fuck does it matter? You're live in front of a place where some shit happened yesterday. Why weren't you there yesterday? Like, who fucking cares? Why can't you just sit at your fucking desk in front of the camera in the newsroom and talk about this shit? Why do you gotta be live? We're live where some shit happened last week, but we're here now. Like, who fucking cares, asshole? So, there's nothing I say in these videos that matters up to the date. The date doesn't matter. I'm just telling you, because there may be a couple of little tidbits in here about like what's going on and whatnot, because this channel is about coming back from a disaster. My life was completely flipped upside down on August 12th of 2022 when the FBI drove a tank into my house and took me to federal prison over some Twitter posts. And if you want to know more, watch more videos. That's how it roll. That's how we roll. I'm not going to tell the story in every single video. If you want to ask questions, live stream Thursdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and that's 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. If you live on the West Coast, you're already familiar with having to calculate when things come on TV for you guys, because nobody gives a shit about you when it comes to the TV schedule. Everything's in Eastern Standard Time, and you have to subtract 3. And if you live in Alaska, it's even worse. You got to subtract 4. Shows would come on when I was visiting my friend up in Alaska. Shows would come on at like 4 in the afternoon that you're used to watching at 8 o'clock in the evening, and you're like, wow, Bill O'Reilly's on at 4 in the afternoon? Fox News? Yeah, I was watching Fox News back in the day. Oh, don't even... I saw that dude. I saw Bill O'Reilly on TV a while back. I'm like, holy shit, that dude. He's starting to look like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. Speaking of old, Ozzy just died yesterday. Was it yesterday? I don't even know. He's dead. That's all that matters. And this actually does fit into exactly what I was going to talk about, ironically, even though I didn't plan this. Ozzy just did his final farewell concert with Black Sabbath on July 5th, and it's like, this is the last time he's ever going to perform, etc., etc. This is it. This is his final concert. This isn't like the final concert. We're retiring, but then a couple months later we'll have a new album coming out, and he'll unretire and then do another final tour. No, this is it. This is his last show. They made that clear. And then there were all these news articles about Sharon and Kelly Osbourne doing all these interviews. No, my dad's not dying. You people need to stop talking about this. He's not dying. Stop. So what that means is, yeah, Ozzy's dying. Everybody knows he's about to die. He's doing his last show. Get ready. He's about to die. He's probably not even going to make it another month. It's like when they tell you in the news media, stop talking about this. My dad's not dying. He's doing just fine. He's perfectly healthy. That means Ozzy's about to die. Right there. You know, I remember reading an article about this just like maybe a week or two ago, like after his final tour and last show, for real this time, last show. And I just remember reading this article, and Kelly Osbourne was like, stop talking about my dad like that. He's not dying. He's just fine. And I'm like, oh, damn, this seems like Ozzy's about to die. Like, I just remember I'm reading this because I have the bullshit filter. Discernment. One of the things that happens when I'm not going to tell you when you believe in God. I didn't believe in God. I thought it was all bullshit. I've said this many, many times on this channel. And I finally just got to the point, I'm like, all right, God, if you're real, knock yourself out. Prove it to me. And then he did. Like, beware. If you ask him and you ask him and you're in a place where you're open-minded and you can like, if he can prove it to you, you'll believe it. And you're not in this like stubborn state of mind where Jesus Christ himself could float down from the sky and you could watch him come down and land in front of you, show you the holes in his fucking hands and feet, and tell you that he's real, and you'd be like, oh, this is just a bunch of bullshit. Who's playing a prank on me? You know what I mean? Like, if you're in a place where you can actually be receptive to the possibility, then, and you ask him to show you if he's real or not, I think he will. I'm not going to say for sure because I don't know. I'm not God. But I'm just saying he works like that. I've seen, that's how it happened to me. That's how it happened to friends of mine. That's how I've heard the story a million times. If you're just in this state of mind where you don't believe it's real and there's absolutely nothing that could prove it to you that it is real, then you won't ever believe it, even if he literally jumped out of the sky and came down to talk to you. You'd just think it was a trickery. And you know, it's easy to believe that you're being duped because we live in a society where they're constantly lying to you. But before I even jump into that, we got the live stream, like I said, Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Central Standard Time, 7 to 9 Eastern. A lot of people on the East Coast. That's where I'm from. I know people from Pittsburgh, New York. There's a lot of people on the East Coast who watch these videos. So I throw it in for my people back home. No commercials on the live stream. If you want to reach out, adam@litgood.com is the easiest way. If you want to check out my photography and just see, like, this is what I want to do with my life, instead of a bunch of dumbass bullshit working for a bunch of crappy ass software companies making bug-riddled garbage software for a living, go to litgood.com and that'll kind of show you the direction I'm trying to go. You want to throw a few bones in the digital chicken bucket, it's donate.litgood.com, and if you want to buy some art, shop.litgood.com, and we'll just go, all the links are below, social media, all that crap. Let's get underway here. So yeah, they're gaslighting you. I've gotten to the point where I basically don't believe anything they fucking say on the news. If the news media, if they tell you to wear a mask, don't wear a fucking mask. If they tell you don't go outside, go outside. They tell you that all the time. How many times you watch a fucking... Every summer it's the same fucking thing. Don't go outside. The sun is dangerous. It's hot out there. You know, wear sunscreen. Oh, the sun's gonna get you. Blah, blah, blah. Go outside. If the news media tells you not to go outside because it's too dangerous, go outside. That's probably the best place for you to be right now. You know, don't go outside. It's too cold. Don't go outside. It's too hot. Whatever, Goldilocks. Get the fuck out of here. I'm going outside. Dress for the occasion. When the news media tells you it's time to take a shot, don't take a shot. Basically, if you live your life, if you watch the 6 o'clock news with the understanding that everything they say is a crock of shit, don't believe anything they say, do the exact opposite of what they tell you to do, you'll be living your best life. Period. They'll tell you don't cheat in the Tour de France. Look at Lance Armstrong. He cheated in the Tour de France. He's living large. He makes millions of dollars. He's still making millions of dollars as a commentator on NBC for the Tour de France that he cheated in because of his expert advice on the race and the sport of cycling. He's making millions of dollars a year right now in 2025 because he cheated in the Tour de France. Keep telling me that cheaters don't win and that you're not supposed to cheat. Show me an example of where that went wrong. Once again, everything they tell you is a crock of shit. So I woke up early. It's early. You see the window behind me will get lighter and lighter and lighter because the sun hadn't even come up yet when I sat down here. I'm just up early. It's no big deal. I got a good night's sleep. I woke up, I grabbed a coffee, I sat, and I started watching a YouTube video. This guy, I don't always agree with everything this guy says. His name is Richie from Boston. And he does a couple of different things. I don't know where he gets his fucking money. He puts together these off-road vehicles that are basically built to live out of, kind of like what I did with a pickup truck, Nissan pickup truck, but he does it different. He's basically like an overlander, like he's going all, like he bought this Toyota 4Runner and he made a video of what he did to it. This thing had to cost $250,000 by the time he was done putting it together. That kind of shit. And like the kind of vehicle that he can go out to like Utah and drive straight down a fucking canyon and turn around and come back up. Like shit that would take a stock Jeep Wrangler and totally destroy it. You know, the real off-roading shit. I was building my pickup truck and my Jeep were designed to get me out there. But at some point, I'm going to have to park the vehicle and get on my mountain bike and go the rest of the way on a mountain bike. That's my way of going off-road. Fuck. I don't need a $250,000, but I don't know where he gets this money. I don't care. I think he made some money during his life doing something, put it away, and decide I don't got to work anymore. And he does the YouTube stuff. He makes money doing that. He put up a fucking GoFundMe. Here's another thing, like people get mad at me, some people do, about begging for money because I got a donate link for my videos. This guy put up a fucking GoFundMe to fund his road trip that he's on right now, driving this $250,000 vehicle all over the country. And he said, as a contest, the top 10 people that donate to him, he'll come and visit you. And I'm like, that's fine. He seems like a cool dude. I'd like to hang out with him sometime. He seems like he's an all right dude. I'm sure I'd get along with him just fine. And I don't got any beef with the guy or what he did. I'm just like, this guy just put together a 200. I'm telling you, I watched this video of this 4Runner. He bought the TRD Pro 4Runner. Those things are like $60,000 to $80,000 stock. And then he basically tore the whole fucking thing apart and rebuilt it with the most expensive aftermarket shit available to man. 25 grand here, 60 grand here, 2,000 there, 4,000 here. I'm adding it up in my head. I'm like, this fucking thing's $250,000 easily. How? He got a rooftop tent. That thing's probably 6 to 10 grand. Like, all of the shit that he did to this vehicle. And I'm like, he's got all these LED lights everywhere. I'm like, there's 2, 4, 6, 8. 1,000, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2,000, 3,000, like right there, the lights, 3, 4 grand in lights. Like, I'm just adding it all up in my head. I'm like, I'm up over 250. So he's got a $250,000 truck. He's got a mountain bike. It's an e-bike. He talked about that in a video. He doesn't ride, he's a little bit larger, but he's losing weight by mountain biking all the time. And, but he said that, he's got I think it's a pedal assist mountain bike. And he says that, you still work out. You're still putting in the heart rate and the energy. The thing that the e-bike does is allow you to go farther. He's like, if I got a regular mountain bike, I would have taken 2 rides. I would have got the shit kicked out of me. I would have went 3 miles and I would have turned around and went home and been fucking miserable and sick of this shit. But instead, I get a pedal-assisted e-bike, and I still go out and work out for the same amount of time. I still get my heart rate going. I still bust my ass, but I go like 30 miles. And I enjoy the scenery, and I actually move and travel and get to see stuff and get places. And he did a whole video about it. And he was actually one of the people that convinced me, among others, that these e-bikes aren't such a bad thing. Because in my mind, I know how, especially mountain biking, holy shit, you're just breaking stuff. That's what mountain biking is. It's like, oh, that was $200 down the toilet. Oh, look at that, another broken wheel. That kind of shit. It's just every other time you go on a mountain bike ride, something's gonna break. That's how it works. Road biking, not so much, but mountain biking, you just get ready. Get ready, you're going to spend some money. If you really get into mountain biking, it's going to be like, oh, broken derailleur. Oh, another broken wheel. Oh, my shock's leaking oil. Oh, shit, my brakes broke. Like, yeah, that's fun. And so, like, if I have an electric motor and all the wiring and batteries and all that bullshit, well, fuck, here's 10 more fucking things that can get broke on my mountain bike the next time I go riding, and it just kind of, it's something. I think about it as a bicycle mechanic. It's like, oh my God, here's like 20 more things to deal with that are gonna break. And so I'm down with a traditional bike because it's simpler and I can fix it out on the trail, and it's not gonna be a bunch of extra weight. That's what it is to me. It's like a battery. The battery for an e-bike is like 20 pounds or whatever they weigh. And I'm like, when this motor stops working, that's just a bunch of heavy shit to be carrying around. But they do have a purpose. I would like to own one at some point. I would rather have a car, but if it comes down to it, I'd get an e-bike. I mean, I have a good lead for a car if I can just get my act together and get the money to have it shipped. But anyway, this guy Richie from Boston, he gets in his $250,000 vehicle, and then he puts up a GoFundMe page so that people can fund his trip. Like, you could have just made a $100,000 4Runner, and then you'd have another $150,000 to go on your trip. I don't know, so people beg for money all the time. Rich people beg for money on YouTube constantly, and nobody gives them shit about it. But so that's where it didn't bother me anymore. When I started doing this YouTube stuff, I was homeless and I wouldn't beg for money. I'm like, I'll sell my photography, I'll sell my art. If you want to fund what I'm doing, buy something. Like, I got stuff to sell. I'm not, will work for food. I'm the homeless guy with the fucking sign that says I want to work for my food. I don't want you to just throw money in a chicken bucket so I can go get drunk. Now I'm the homeless guy who doesn't give a fuck. I'll go get drunk. Give me some money. So, but I don't drink. So I haven't had a beer. I've had like 4 beers, maybe 6, since the day I got out of prison. Because I have to go back. In a year's span, I've probably had 6 beers. That would be my guess. Maybe 1 or 2 in Jamestown, and like maybe 4 or 5, 4 at my friend's house. And when I would go get my hair cut at the Manly salon, they give you beer. So you get like 2 beers when you get your hair cut. And I'm like, if I'm paying $40 to get my hair cut at this place, give me fucking 2. Give me your hoppiest, most expensive beer. Because I'm getting my money's worth here. If I went to Sport Clips, I'd be like, yeah, put your titties in my face, because it's like going to Hooters to get your hair cut. And it's expensive. I'm like, both boobs in my face. I'm paying for this. Better get what I'm paying for. So when I go to the Manly salon that's got the bar up front where you wait to get your hair cut, yeah, I want 2 beers. Give me the fucking most expensive, hoppiest beer that you got. Craft beer, whatever it is, that's what I want. Get my $40 worth. So, I'm watching this Richie from Boston. He's on his road trip now. And he's talking about this place called the Sage Wall in Montana. And I'd never heard of this. Look it up. I'm not editing this video. I don't give a fuck about doing all that work. I got things to do today. You can easily go to Google, type in the Sage Wall. Boom, it shows up. You can see 50 videos, pictures, news articles, everything under the sun about this. You can find out about it just as fast as I did this morning if you're not a lazy piece of shit. So, the Sage Wall in Montana, that's on private property. It's this giant stone wall. These big giant boulders stacked up in a wall. And so now that this is out, it was a recent discovery. I don't know when, just a few years back. Montana's pretty remote wilderness. There's a lot of places in America that people have never seen. And believe it or not, or if they have, they didn't, document it. So we're finding these things now. This giant fucking wall is out in the middle of nowhere, and now experts and geologists are coming out, because if this thing is real, if this thing is man-made, then it basically takes the entire history of the United States, crumples it up in a ball, and you can throw it in the fucking trash, because we've been being lied to since the day we got here. And so now they've got all these experts telling you, oh, this is a natural formation. This is nature. This is what nature does. This is and like, I challenge you. Go look at a picture of the Sage Wall. Look at one fucking picture and tell me this. Is this natural or is this man-made? A or B? Natural, man-made. You're all gonna come up with the same fucking answer. It's the same exact answer that you would give me if you went outside and you turned around and you looked at your house and you asked the question, is this natural or is this made by man? And then these so-called experts and these fucking, these geologists and these archaeologists who are the experts are trying to bullshit you into saying, oh, this is natural, this isn't man-made. Look at the fucking thing. Look at it. Just look at it. You'll know the truth. It's not that they're giant boulders, they're cut into perfect squares, they're all stacked neatly with each other, and they're all cut and aligned perfectly. And so, like, nobody knows how the fuck these stones would even get there in the first place, because we don't have equipment now. We don't have cranes. We don't have equipment right now that could move any of these boulders into place. There's a whole bunch of this shit all over the world. Baalbek, that's another, Google that. The stones, the ancient ruins of Baalbek, I think that's the name of it. These stones are so fucking big from these ancient ruins that there's no explanation to this day of how they even built the fucking thing, because even in our modern day, we do not have any tools, machinery, or equipment that could even move one of these stones. Yet there's giant fucking buildings and structures that have been built all over the world with stones and giant rocks that are so big and heavy that we can't move them to this day. We don't have any fucking idea how they did it. I have some ideas. A lot of people have ideas, but they're trying to say, well, that shit's just a natural formation. That's just geology, happened over billions of years, because the nature just likes to build perfectly straight walls that are, 50 feet high, made of perfectly cut blocks that all intricately fit together and form a perfectly straight wall that's perfectly straight and perfectly vertical. And it's like, they think you're so fucking dumb that they could show up and just say that your house is a natural formation. Even if you built your own fucking house, they'll turn around and say, well, that's a natural formation that happened over billions of years. The ice and the snow and the freeze-thaw cycle happened in such a way that it built this perfectly shaped house with all of these intricate windows and plumbing and a toilet. The toilet, that's a natural formation right there. And they think that you're that fucking dumb. They think you're that fucking dumb. And I was just laughing. I was laughing because I looked up the Sage Wall, because he was talking about it. Richie was talking about this thing, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And so I look it up, and you see pictures of it, you see videos of it, and then you see all these fucking articles from the propaganda machine telling you it's just a natural formation, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And I'm laughing. I'm like pee my pants laughing, reading this shit. Because you can look at this fucking thing and instantly know what it is. Some people built a fucking wall. Or somebody, it may have not been people. It may have been something else, but somebody built this fucking wall in the middle of Montana, in the middle of nowhere. We don't know why. just like your house is a natural formation that just magically appeared out in the woods by nature. Like the buildings in downtown Houston, the buildings in downtown Pittsburgh are it's a natural formation. PPG Place, the perfectly straight building covered in glass that looks like a castle, and Inspector Gadget, the Inspector Gadget's arch nemesis has his office in the top floor of the building, and all of that. All natural formation. That's how much they think you're fucking dumb. They think you're so fucking dumb that they can just say anything to you. Wear a mask, you fucking retard. Here, we're gonna put these arrows on the floor at the grocery store, and you can only go this way down the aisle, and if you forgot something, you gotta go around and come back to the beginning of the aisle. You can't turn around and go back and get it. Like, how many of you dumb motherfuckers went along with that? The arrows on the grocery store floor. I would just go the opposite way of what the arrow was pointing on purpose, just to watch all these dumb bitches and soccer moms get mad. Because I'm not wearing a mask, I'm walking the wrong way, the arrow on the floor is pointing this way and I'm going that way. just to watch these dumb soccer mom retards lose their fucking minds. Just because I'm like, you people are like, they could tell you to park your car in your garage roll the windows down and leave the engine running until you fall asleep. And half of you fucking retards would listen to them and do it. And you're going to sleep for a long fucking time if you do that. So, and it's just like this kind of like blew up into this whole like, this is how these people operate. Like I said, whatever the news media tells you to do something else. If they tell you don't do something, then do it. If they tell you to do something, then don't do it. Live your life. Follow these simple rules and you will live your best life. Period. Like, all these fucking people do is lie. And so I start reading these articles about the Sage Wall. And a couple of you fucking people who watch these videos have called me a conspiracy theorist. And when you say that term and you're actually using it to try and jab at me, it just tells me that you're a fucking idiot. Period. Like, it's the word, it's like the most obvious, it's like wearing a mask on your face. But the verbal version of wearing a mask on your face in 2025. When you say that somebody's a conspiracy theorist and you're doing it to like make fun of somebody or put somebody down, it just basically it tells anybody who has a shred of knowledge that you're a fucking idiot who doesn't do any research and has nothing to back up your opinion, because it's a manufactured term that the CIA came up with to put people down who try to tell you the truth about shit. Because when people are out there telling you the truth, they can back it up with facts, evidence, research, interviews, eyewitness testimony, etc. And the CIA and the propaganda machine can't counter that with their own facts, research, interviews, eyewitness testimony, etc., because it doesn't exist, because you, the conspiracy theorist, so-called conspiracy theorist, are the one telling the truth. And so the people who support the lie, they can't go up against that with facts and things because they're lying. And so this is what you always see. And so I'm reading about the Sage Wall, right? And there's tons of evidence, research, material out there, and all you really have to do is look at it. Look at one fucking picture of it and tell me what it is. Man-made or natural. It's that fucking quick. Go look at a picture of it. You'll make up your own mind within about a second, 1 to 2 seconds, you'll know. But there's tons of evidence and research to back up, people, the people who try to debunk a conspiracy theory, it all follows the same pattern. And this is the kind of shit that you just start to see when your eyelids are opened, and part of it is the discernment that you get when you let God come into your life and let you know that he's real. He gives you discernment. This is in the Bible. You'll have the ability to see a turd for a turd and a rose for a rose. You'll know the difference between bullshit and reality. Like, you'll just have an instinct for it. You'll be able to know. And believe me, Richie from Boston, he talks about a lot of shit. He believes in the flat earth. And, my discernment, he says some bullshit from time to time. He talks about photography like he's a photographic expert, but I'm a photographic expert too. And he'll say shit about cameras and photography that's just bullshit, because I do this all the time, or did. And he'll be saying, look at this video, it proves this and that because this camera and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's a camera artifact, or that's an issue with the camera sensor. That's not a fake sun, or like he'll just say stuff and I'll be like, that's bullshit. But I still like the guy, but I can pick out the reality from the bullshit even if I like the guy, and sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. But you'll have that discernment built in. Once you start, once you go down that path, God will give you a natural discernment so you can sniff the bullshit out when it's being put in front of your face. You'll smell that if they try to make a turd look like a rose, it's still going to smell like a turd. And so when they try to debunk a conspiracy theory, it always follows the same pattern. The quote-unquote conspiracy theory will have tons of evidence, tons of research, interviews, eyewitness testimony. It's basically like going to a courtroom and the prosecutor's just nailing it. Bang, bang, we got the DNA evidence, we got the time, we got these witnesses, he doesn't have an alibi. Bang, 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 bang. And they'll just sit there and bang on it for that. The prosecutor has a 3-hour presentation with all the facts and the eyewitnesses and the expert witnesses that can tell you about the DNA and all the shit. And then the debunker gets up. And it's the same pattern every time. When they debunk a so-called conspiracy theory, they do no research. They have no facts to back up their side of it. They basically just debunk everything by saying, no, that's not true. No, that's not true. We don't have any evidence to prove that it's not true, but believe us, it's not true. And if you believe that it's true, you're a fucking idiot. Ha ha ha. You're a moron if you believe that's true. And that's all it'll be. The debunk article, the article that tells you that brings the conspiracy into the fact realm will be full of research and facts and things that you can branch off on, and you can go do your own homework and research. And like the Sage Wall, you can look at a picture of it and say, damn, that's a wall. Somebody built that. And then the debunk article will be like, well, if you believe that, you're a retard. Ha ha ha. Make fun of them, make fun of them, make fun of them. That's all they do. And so it just kind of reminds me, I've had experience with this for years. There was a video that I used to show people. And I've talked about this many, many times on this. You can watch it for free on YouTube and other platforms like Rumble. It's called Waco, The Rules of Engagement. I had this thing on, back in the day, I was showing this to people on VHS tapes. Who owns a VCR anymore? I owned a VCR when the FBI came to my house because I had an Atari plugged into it. And that's how I would get my Atari to show up on the LCD, modern HD TV. But I had Waco, The Rules of Engagement video on VHS tape. And we would have like conspiracy theory night at my friend's apartment. And we would have like 20, because there were always people partying in my friend's apartment. So, and my friend, he was on the same team as me. So we're like, let's wake some people up tonight. All right. So we'd throw in this video, Waco, The Rules of Engagement. It's like 2 hours long. Watch it. You ever want to see a room of grown men bawling? Take 20 fucking dudes of the hardest dudes that you know, put them in a room, make them watch this video, watch them all cry when the video's over. It's fucking deep. And they lay it down. They lay it down in 2 hours. They won all kinds of awards for this. Fact after eyewitness testimony, interviews with everybody. It's 2 hours long. Do you want me to tell you everything that's in it and spend 2 hours doing it? Or do you want to just watch it yourself? I'm just telling you, they break it down. And then I had another video to go with it as like a demonstration of the propaganda machine. And I don't know the exact title of it, but it was from PBS, and it's the show Frontline. and they did an hour-long episode about the Waco siege. You can probably watch this easily on the internet. It's somewhere. Frontline, PBS, 1 hour long documentary about Waco. And it's all bullshit. It's bullshit. It's no evidence to back up anything they say. They just say, if you believe this, you're an idiot. If you believe that, you're an idiot. They're a dumb cult. They got killed for being a dumb cult. David Koresh was a cult leader. Just believe us. The FBI did no wrong. The ATF did nothing wrong. Those people deserve to die, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd interview all the same people that got interviewed in the Rules of Engagement movie, but they would cut up everything they said into little tiny sound bites. In the Waco Rules of Engagement movie, you're watching interviews and testimony, and you're getting full statements that are like solid, and you can watch and you'd be like, this is what this person really said. On the PBS version, they would ask somebody a question and you get just some tiny little sound bite that's like the middle of somebody's sentence, and then that's their statement. They'll just take some little tidbit that backs up their narrative out of something somebody said and stick it there and say, okay, that's what the person said. And they'll try to make the people that believe that those women and children didn't deserve to die, they'll cut the sound bites up to make them look like idiots. And then they'll cut up the sound bites of the law enforcement people to make them sound like they were heroes. And you can see it plain as day. If you watch one and then you watch the other video, I would play them both together on purpose. I would say, now watch this. And people would be mad, like wanting to throw shit at the TV mad, watching this PBS documentary after what they just watched. And it's like eye-opening. You're like, holy shit, this is how the machine works. They'd be mad. It's the same exact thing that CBS 60 Minutes did with Kamala Harris. They asked this woman, they did this 60 Minutes interview with her, and she's just a fucking dumbass bimbo, retarded ass bitch like that fucking Miss South Carolina in the beauty pageant. And she's like, well, the reason why like Americans are like illiterate and such as is because they like don't have maps and such as. And so I think Americans from America should have maps and stuff and like words and learn how to make words and read and stuff and such as. That's basically Kamala Harris doing a 60 Minutes interview. And so they had to they'd ask her a fucking question and they'd just get some fucking rambling bimbo response that made no fucking sense. So they're like digging around in the video. They're like, well, here's where she answered this other question. Let's take that part of her question, the answer to that question, cut it, put it over here, and make that the answer to the question we just asked her, and put that on 60 Minutes, and that'll make her look like she's kind of smart. And that's what they fucking did. And then they're like, just believe us. And then Donald Trump was like, fuck that shit, sued them, and won. What was it, like $1 billion? I don't even know. $1 billion? I don't even give a fuck. I don't pay that much attention. But you can't fucking do that. That would be like a presidential debate where they put it on a delay so that they can get Joe Biden to answer all the questions without looking like a dementia-riddled Alzheimer's patient. Instead of the debate being live, they record it the day before, and then they've got a bunch of fucking people in the editing room going frantic trying to piece together different times where he spoke into answers. And so it'd be like the exact same answer for like 10 different questions because there were only like 3 times where that bumbling idiot could even like sort of pretend that he wasn't a dementia-riddled Alzheimer's patient who should be in a nursing home because he's so incoherent. It would be like the exact same video clip for like 10 different questions. The exact same answer. Just like the exact same signature. Exactly the same signature on every document he signed because he didn't sign any of them. He used a fucking pen machine to sign them because he's too old and crippled to hold a fucking pen, number one. And number two, he had no fucking idea that he was president, and unless people reminded him 10 times, hey, Joe, you're the president. Huh? Oh, okay. And they just they bullshit you for fucking years and lie right to your fucking face. But that's one of the ways that they do it. They just cut up the fucking clips and they edit it all to be whatever it is that they want to tell you. But you can see it. If you watch Waco, The Rules of Engagement, a well thought out, well researched documentary full of facts, full of interviews of substance, people with substance to say. They interviewed people on both sides, and they got, you know where people stand, you know what people's thoughts are, etc., etc. And then PBS comes along to try and do a hit piece on it, and it's garbage. There's no facts, there's no research. Every single interview, every single sound, it's all a bunch of sound bites, and it's all just a bunch of shit making fun of you if you believe that the government wasn't wrong, or that the government was wrong. If you believe the government did something wrong, then you're a fucking idiot. They were obviously a cult, and they deserve to die. That's what PBS wants you to believe. And it's fucked up, especially if you watch both together. You gotta watch them both together because you get the full effect of, holy shit, that's how bad they lie to us. I honestly, to this day, I can't think of a better combo. But it's the same shit about 9/11. You see Building 7 just fall. Building 7's there, and then it just falls straight down like that. Watch it. I'm not gonna go get the fucking video. And then they try to tell you, well, it caught on fire and it fell because it was on fire. You ever see a skyscraper burn? There's other videos out there of skyscrapers and tall buildings that burn for days to the point where it's just a steel frame at the end of the fucking fire, and the building didn't just fall straight down. It's and then they just want it. They just say, no, if you believe that there were explosives in those buildings that made them go like that, you're an idiot. And that's it. They tell you you're an idiot, but they don't give you any evidence at all to back up why what they're telling you is right. They're just like, well, if you believe that, you're an idiot. The end. That's it. But then the people that tell you that there were explosives in the buildings and that's why the buildings just came straight down, they back it up with evidence. They've got architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth with all kinds of factual information and research and chemical analysis and structural analysis. And you've got the architect who built the building who said it was designed to withstand the impact of a plane. And you got days worth of research and material. You could spend a month. It would be like watching the Tour de France. There's so much shit to back up that our own government blew up those buildings in order to goad everybody into fighting in a war that we didn't want to fight before that day. And to cover up a bunch of dirty shit that they were doing to get everybody looking the other way. Tons of information to back up what I just said. But when they debunk all the conspiracy theories, they have absolutely zero facts, zero evidence, zero proof to back up their claim that you're an idiot for believing in that stuff. And that's their only argument is, well, if you believe that, you're an idiot. If you believe that, you're a conspiracy theorist. The end. That's all we got to say. And, there's enough people, there's enough dumb lemmings out in the public that'll just believe what they say. You know how I know this? Because in 2020, when I went outside, I'd see people mowing their fucking lawn with a mask on their face. There you go. That's all I needed to see. That's how I know that this country's full of idiots. Because everywhere I went, I see people driving around in their car by themselves wearing a mask on their face. Proof. It's just as much of proof to back up everybody, that there's so many idiots in America that were beyond repair. Just like I can look at that photo of the Sage Wall in Montana and say, yeah, Oh yeah, that's a natural formation, all right. Oh yeah. Yeah, these fucking people driving around with a mask on their face all alone in 2025 would look at that and read the article and say, oh yeah, that is a natural formation. That's what nature does. Nature just builds perfectly shaped walls out of big giant rocks and carves them into perfect cubes and stacks them next to each other in a perfectly straight line, 50 feet tall and flat at the top. That's what nature does. It happens all the time. Look all over the world. That's what you see everywhere you look. And so, like, there are enough idiots in this country that, I mean, geez, I get on, I mean, all you gotta do, get on YouTube for like an hour, get on Facebook and go through the shorts and TikTok. I mean, you're just like, you're going to see all the proof that you need to see that this country and this world are just full of complete fucking morons. And there's so many of them that you and I, if we're awake and we can see what's going on, we're highly outnumbered. We're highly outnumbered because there's 200 fucking retards for every 1 or 2 people that are awake and can see what's going on. And that's a hard battle to fight. It's not worth my time. So anyway, the edited sound clip trick. I went through that myself. I have personal experience with that, and not the first time I got famous on the news was not when the FBI showed up at my house with a tank. In fact, the government, if I wanted to give you every single example of how I made myself a target for the government to take down, it goes back to when I was like 20 years old, 21 years old, and started to wake up and started to fight back against these people, you know, with the pen, with the keyboard, if you will. I've been doing it since I was young, since I woke up, since TWA Flight 800, where I knew somebody who died on the plane that woke me up to the point where I started speaking out against this shit. And it put a target on it. If you speak out against these scumbags in charge, it puts a target right on your forehead, crosshairs right here. And they're aiming for you and they're trying to take you down. And the louder you get and the more dangerous you become to them, the more likely you are to get 2 bullets to the back of the head and called a suicide. So I made a website. The Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, PennDOT, corrupt, just douchey, the worst roads. Pennsylvania was voted the worst roads in America. The worst roads, and it's no joke. They're bad. It's bad. So I made a website, pen.sucks.com, and it was up for a while. And I did all kinds of crazy shit with this website. I made a message board. Like, you know, message board like you've seen before, except I had a little checkbox. And you could type a complaint about PennDOT, and then it had a little checkbox. And if you check that box and hit the submit button, it would send your complaint to every single Pennsylvania state representative, every single Pennsylvania state senator, the governor's office, the lieutenant governor's office, the every official and all the top people in PennDOT and beyond, your Pennsylvania senator in Congress, all the Pennsylvania's representatives in Congress, the 2 senators, etc., etc. There were close to 1,000 email addresses in that list. And if you filled out this thing, if you bitched about PennDOT and all it was a checkbox, boom, it would just go berserk. It would go out to like 1,000 different email addresses. So in tandem with that, they were getting ready to close the Fort Pitt Tunnel in Pittsburgh. And if you're from Pittsburgh, you know that's a big deal. And they were going to close this major road going in and out of downtown for like 2 years to do a construction job. And it was probably going to be a shitty job. The thing, they'll have it closed for 2 years, and 6 months later, the thing will be falling apart. That's how they roll. And so the timing couldn't have been better. I put out a bunch of press releases, and it blew up. It blew the fuck up all over the state of Pennsylvania. All these news organizations came at me for interviews, especially Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, radio shows, newspapers, you name it. I was doing, for like weeks, I was doing nothing but press interviews, newspaper interviews, radio shows, TV news. It was just nonstop. The 3 television stations in Pittsburgh did a whole segment about the website, and they came down to interview me. And so I got the exact treatment that I'm talking about. So I'm going to compare 2 interviews because it shows both sides. KDKA, Channel 2 in Pittsburgh, did a very non-objective interview, and they interviewed me, and they asked me questions. I gave them thought-out answers. We went back and forth, and they aired what I said, and that it was very objective. The good and the bad, and they're like, why did you do this, and how did this come about, and what are you hoping to accomplish, and all those different questions. And we had a conversation, and then they aired the conversation that we had, and then people can make up their own mind. People thought this thing was fucking hysterical. Radio stations did the same thing. They were all objective. They were like, oh my God, this is so funny, Adam. How did you come up with this? I would tell them, etc. Objective interviews. Now, Channel 4, WTAE, the biggest fucking ass clowns in the TV news business in Pittsburgh, just a bunch of fucking retards, scumbags. They came down and interviewed me. And all they were doing was trying to goad me into saying certain sound bites that they wanted to use. They already had their story written before they interviewed me, and they just wanted to come down and get a few little sound bites to slip into their edit. And so they're asking me questions, and the dude, I forget the guy's name, he's a fucking retard. He just kept poking and prodding me, trying to get me to say certain things. And I knew his game, so I wasn't gonna play. So I was acting professional, and I wouldn't do what he wanted me to do. And so he asked me, so how did you come up with the idea for this website? And I told him. And so this is what I told him. I said, well, we came into work one day, and we're hanging out, and we're having our morning coffee and talking about things and just having, waking up to the day. And my buddy comes into the office and he says, oh man, I'm sorry I'm late. A chunk of the Liberty Tunnel just broke off and fell on the roof of my car, and I have to deal with this shit today. And so yeah, a big chunk of the Liberty Tunnel fell off the roof of the tunnel and caved in the roof of his fucking car that morning. And so we're sitting around the water cooler, and he looks at me and he goes, man, PennDOT sucks. And I looked back at him and I'm like, we should make a website. I'm like, there's the name right there, PennDOTsucks.com. And there we go. That's how it started. We were talking in the morning, having our coffee. My friend comes in, tells me that a chunk of the tunnel fell on the roof of his car. He looks at me and he's like, man, PennDOT sucks. And we're like, why don't we make a website? It's perfect. And he goes, I'm in. And that's what we did. We made this website, got a few other people involved, got money for it. I mean, we played this game hard. And that was our way of fighting back against their dumbass fucking bullshit, like the Liberty Tunnel falling down, whatever. But anyway, so Channel 4 takes that whole interview. It's like a 20-minute long interview, and I know that they're not going to use every single thing that we talked about because it's the 6 o'clock news. They've got like a 2-minute segment for the news show. They're only going to probably use a couple of sentences, right? Well, KDKA used good segments and gave an objective report. KDK or WTAE, they just wanted me to look like an idiot. Like just some fucking angry idiot who lost his temper and decided to build a website to shame public officials and whatnot. So the only fucking clip out of the 20 minutes that they spent interviewing me that they used for that segment was me going, PennDOT sucks. And that's it. That's all they showed. They were like, blah, 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 this guy, blah, 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 he hates PennDOT. PennDOT sucks! Blah, 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 blah. And that's the only fucking thing that they used on the whole 2 to 5 minute news segment about my website. PennDOT sucks! And they kept playing it over and over again. PennDOT sucks! And it wasn't even me saying PennDOT sucks. Like I'm answering a question. It was the middle of a sentence where I'm explaining how we came up with the idea for the website, and the whole thing was a chunk of the Liberty Tunnel fell on my friend's car. He was late to work because the roof of his car was caved in, and he needed to figure out what to do about that. He comes in late, we're talking about it, and he looks at me and he goes, PennDOT sucks! And I'm like, yeah, that's a perfect, let's do a website about it, and blah, 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 blah. And so that little PennDOT sucks rip was in the middle of a whole explanation of how we came up with the project, and and WTAE was like, that's perfect, just use that, that's all we need. PennDOT sucks! Boy, there's an angry man in Pittsburgh right now. PennDOT sucks! He created this website called PennDOT sucks! And they just kept playing that soundbite over and over again. And like I said, they sat down with me, a face-to-face interview, all the lights and all the shit, had a makeshift studio set up in our office to do a 20-minute interview with me so that they could get that one soundbite of me saying, PennDOT sucks, over and over. And then they just took that one little clip and just played it over and over and over and over again like 4 or 5 times during the news segment. And even my friends were like, that's some bullshit. Like, people were calling me up saying, did you see that fucking dumbass report on TAE? They fucking filleted you on there. And I'm like, yeah, they're a bunch of fucking assholes. And so, like, there was all this other play. Like, I was on all 3 of the major TV stations, the radio shows, cable TV news shows. Like, it was a fucking whirlwind when I did this. All because I put out press releases. They were timed just right. It was like, oh my God, all these news people in the newsrooms were like, oh my God, this is fucking perfect. Run with it. Like, this is the perfect story for today. Go get them. And so for 2 fucking weeks, I did nothing but go on fucking interviews. And the site blew up for a while, and it just became this fuck. So then, you know, this is a story for another day, but that site blew up. All the government officials, all of them came after me. I was getting threatened with lawsuits day after day after day. When the government passed the anti-spam bill, I can tell you that I was one of the reasons they did that. Because this was before the government went and passed the anti-spam laws. So now if I were to do what I did then, it would be completely illegal and I could go to jail for it. When I did it, it was perfectly legal. These were all email addresses. I spent a few weeks gathering all these email addresses, and it was easy to find. They're all public. And so there were hundreds of thousands of people going to this website and just bang, 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 hitting these people with emails about PennDOT sucks and fuck you, and the governor's email box was just filling up with PennDOT sucks messages. They hated me. Oh my God, one of the congresswomen, Melissa Hart, somebody ran into her at county fair in her district, and they asked her about my website, and she's like, he's a fucking asshole. I can't fucking stand that piece of shit. Like, she got mad and like called me a piece of shit. I can't stand that fucking asshole. Who the fuck does he think he is? This is a congresswoman talking about me. So my target has been on my fucking forehead going back to when I was like, 22 years old. And they've been after me ever since. So it's no fucking surprise that they threw me in federal prison for posting Twitter posts. They're like, they were just waiting for it. They were waiting for me to do something that they could get me for. And it took years, but I was always coming at them one way or another and fucking with the system. But I did it in such a way that they couldn't do anything to me. But anyway, so that's that. It's so early in the morning. I'm gonna get another coffee and watch some Tour de France before I get into work. It's like not even 8 o'clock in the morning yet. But I watched this little video of Richie from Boston going on a road trip, and I didn't know what the sage wall was. I'm like, what's this he's talking about? I hit pause. I went and looked. And I'm like, no shit. I'm like, it was like, I spent like 10 minutes researching in depth on what the... Go look at it. Go look at it. You're going to come up with the same opinion that I did. It's like it would be like, Machu Picchu in Peru, the Inca city in the clouds in the middle of the mountains. It would be as if the news media said that if you believe that's man-made, you're a fucking idiot. That's a conspiracy theory. That's a natural formation. Those stairs going up the mountain were formed over millions of years. All of those walls, all of those buildings, everything in Machu Picchu, it's just a natural formation that happens because of the acid rain and the cloud formations and the fact that there's always clouds and over millions of years, and then the erosion, and it's just, it's perpendicular erosion, see, and whatever. And they'll just fucking gaslight you. They'll lie right to your fucking face. These fucking politicians would lie to you. I'm not a child molester, while they're holding a little kid's dick in their fucking hand. And it's in the view of the camera, and they forgot to turn the camera this way to hide it. They'll fucking lie to you about that. They'll lie right to your fucking face. They'll lie right to your face. While they're doing the thing that they're lying to you about, saying that they're not doing. How many times have you heard a politician say, I never said that? Well, we got this thing called YouTube that collects everything that you've ever said in your entire fucking career since the day you started your career. And it records everything that you've ever said. And so now when you go on the news and you say, I never said that, let's go back in time and pull this up. Here's the clip where you said the thing that you said you just never said. And then they'll still lie to you about it and still tell you, I never said that. Like, who the fuck are you? How dumb do you think we are? How dumb do you think we are? And then I look around, and if I were to go on a bike ride today, I'd see 20 people walking around with masks outside, driving in their cars by themselves wearing a mask, mowing their yard with a mask on their face. And I'd be like, well, I guess we are pretty fucking dumb. And with that, I'm going to say peace out. We'll talk again.